This series covers homosexuality and the topic of losing loved ones. Viewer discretion is advised. How the Lion Fell in Love with the Lamb. A Jacksepticeye and Matt Shea fanfic by Fanficgirlsgalore. Link in the description below. Chapter 4. The Confession. Okay, let's start. That morning after, I was dried of tears. I spent an hour in the shower just thinking of what I was going to do. I wanted to tell Matt. Hell, I needed to tell Matt. I finally decided to get out of the shower and then walked into my bedroom with nothing except a towel in hand so I could pick out my clothes for the day. Then, without warning, Matt opened the door and walked in. "Jack, what do you want to do for breakfast?" I bent over and quickly wrapped the towel around my waist as fast as I could, and I could feel my face flushy. "Oh no, did you see me? I was too scared to look up." "Are you okay? Your face is a little red, you might be getting sick. You can trust me, you know, I'm a doctor." "Almost." I looked up after that and saw that he had his phone in his hand, which meant he probably didn't see me. Good. I straightened up then cleared my throat. No, I'm fine. You just scared me a little. Wasn't exactly prepared for you to barge in here when I was... well... I looked down and he followed my gaze. He started blushing too and apologized. "It's okay, just, you know, a warning would be nice next time. But I'll make us some eggs and toast after I get dressed, sound okay?" He nodded before pivoting around and walking to the living room. I let a deep breath out and started giggling. Oh, that would have been a great story to tell Felix. I giggled some more before finally getting dressed and leaving my room to make breakfast. After breakfast, I took the dishes and put them in the sink to be washed later. I walked into the living room and saw Matt watching the news, so I decided to join him. I sat as far away as possible so I wouldn't start blushing again. Finally, after hours of the news, he spoke up. "So Jack, what do you do for fun around here?" Matt looked at me from the other side of the couch, apparently as bored of the news as I was. "Well, I make videos, play games, go to the pub with my friends, though I've been going there by myself lately to buy some drinks for the here, and go for walks." I turned off the TV and looked back at him. "Is the sunset nice here? It is back in Canada. I love watching it with Ash." He stopped mid-sentence and looked in the opposite direction of me. And never mind. I leaned forward to try and look at his face, but he'd just keep turning his head further away from me. I finally gave up and sat back on the couch, pulling out my phone. No new texts. I sighed and checked the weather for tonight. It looked like it would be slightly warm for once and clear skies. This would be a great time to watch the sunset, even if it is still winter. The sunsets really are beautiful here. I turned back to Matt, who was just staring down at his lap now, and cleared my throat. He jumped from the sudden noise and looked at me without turning his head. "Matt, you seem like you're in a rather bad mood, and would like to know if you want to watch the sunset with me tonight." He gave me a small smile and nodded his head in agreement. "Good, the sun will set in probably a few hours, so we have time." He said nothing and the smile faded from his face as he went back to staring at his lap. I turned on the TV again so I could have some distraction to keep me from worrying about later today. I checked my phone every minute to see how much longer until the sun set. Finally, it was almost time, so I went to put on a heavy jacket and told Matt to put one on as well. I waited at my back door, which led out to a porch, for him to show up. He appeared after a few seconds and was struggling to zip up his jacket. He was getting flustered, and I thought it was so cute I couldn't help but chuckle. "What's so funny?" He looked at me with anger in his eyes, and I couldn't help but chuckle more. "Come here, I'll zip it up for you." He lowered his hands and let me zip it up. There. Now that was easy, wasn't it? I looked up after that and saw his face was turning red. "What's wrong?" "Nothing, it's just cold," he said, making his face turn even more red. "But we're still inside." I gave him a weird look and tried to look him in the eyes. Shut up, let's just go watch the sunset." He marched past me and onto the porch. I shook my head and smiled and walked after him. He was leaning forward on the fencing around the porch, already enjoying the sunset. I lost my breath at the image. He looked so beautiful. He turned around right then and smiled at me, making my heart skip a beat. I shook the feelings off and walked up next to him and imitated his posture. We didn't talk for a long time, but finally he started talking, almost as if he were in a daze. You know, there's a lot on my mind right now. It's been there for a while, but I haven't told anyone. But I feel like I should tell you. He stood up and looked at me as I did the same. There's 3 things. 1, I really wanted to come out here and see you, and I'm really glad I did. But the next 2 things I have to tell you are the reasons why I wanted to come out here. He paused and let a long breath out. My heart started picking up. He finally wanted to speak again. Jack, the reasons I came out here were because My phone started ringing, making Matt shut up and turn really red again. Never mind, you should get that. Damn it! I reached into my pocket to see who was calling. Apparently it was Felix. I was going to ignore it so Matt could continue talking, but it was too late already. The sun had already disappeared over the horizon and Matt was walking inside. I cussed under my breath before answering the phone. Hello? Hey Jack, did I leave my toothbrush here? I can't find it and I've been searching all day. He kept talking, but I stopped listening and just hung up without saying anything. I stood there for a while, looking at where Matt had just been standing not too long ago. He was about to open up to me, tell me something I knew would have changed my whole life. And now, I might never find out, all because of a toothbrush. I started tearing up and my nose was getting frostbite from being exposed to the outside for too long. My phone went off again and I checked it. It was a text from Felix. I opened and read the message. Never mind, I found it. It was still in the suitcase, lol. I became enraged and threw my phone into the snow, ruining it. But I didn't care. I'll just buy another one after Matt leaves. I finally went back inside and heard the TV in the living room. I didn't bother going in there to watch it with Matt. I instead went to my bedroom, slamming the door behind me. I didn't leave the rest of the night and Matt didn't check to see if I was okay. He just went to his room soon after I did. I passed out sometime around 10 that night. I don't even remember if I had a dream. I just woke up sweating and on top of all the covers. We didn't talk the next day except for when we needed something from the other person, like the salt shaker or to ask what time it was. The next day we didn't talk either, except for right before I went to go to bed. We were watching TV again, and I had grown tired of the antics of whatever show we were watching, and I stood up to leave for my room. Just as I took my first step when I felt Matt grab my arm. I stopped but didn't turn around. What is it? I asked him. He didn't speak up and I was growing impatient, and I whipped around to ask him again. I opened my mouth, but before I could get the words out I caught a glimpse of his face. He was crying. I sat back down and scooted so close to him I was practically on his lap. I hesitated before putting my arm around him, but I finally did and he leaned into my chest. My face blushed red, but I couldn't let my voice betray my embarrassment. Matt, what's wrong? He didn't speak for a while, but he just kept crying into my shirt. When he finally stopped, he looked at me with bloodshot eyes and whispered, Jack, I'm so sorry. I tried and tried, but... He started crying again before he could finish. Why are you sorry? What did you try to do? I tried encouraging him, and with those words he straightened up, pulling away from me. I let my arm fall back to my side, and when I went to scoot away a little, he put his hands on my thigh and kept it there. I could feel the heat from his hands and I turned to look at him again. We just stared at each other for a while before he spoke up again. Jack, I tried telling you this on a porch a couple of days ago, but Felix interrupted it and I was so discouraged that I couldn't say it anymore. It's been eating away at me and I can't take it anymore. So I'm finally going to tell you why I came here. He stopped and took in a deep breath. I broke up with Ashley. Or rather, she broke up with me. Things just weren't working out, so she called it off and kicked me out of the house. I didn't have anywhere to go, so that's why I came here. And no other reason. His eyes showed that there was another reason, but I didn't want to push him away from me by doubting him. I decided to just let it go. It's okay, my girlfriend actually broke up with me earlier this month, but that was because I was a real asshole. But you know, I'm almost glad she did. I was about to anyway. I didn't realise it then, but I was losing feelings for her, and they were being transferred to someone else. That person that now has all my feelings is very special. I couldn't imagine life without them, but I've almost accepted the fact that they'll never like me back. I mean, you could do so much better than me, Matt. I choked on my words. Oh no, I just told Matt I liked him. I looked at him, hoping that he would show no sign of having heard it, or maybe that he wasn't even listening at all. But his face was pure shock. He heard it all. Jack. He barely whispered my name. I wouldn't allow myself to stay long enough for him to start mocking me, so I ran to my room and locked the door behind me and hid underneath the covers on my bed. I could hear him at the door trying to open it and shouting my name, but I wouldn't acknowledge it. He finally gave up and left to go somewhere else in the house. I stayed under my covers until noon the next day, and then I finally decided to leave my room. Today was New Year's Eve, and tomorrow Matt would be leaving. I looked around for him, but I couldn't seem to find him. After checking everywhere, I checked his room and I found the door to be locked. I started knocking on the door. Matt? I heard a groan and sighed with relief. Good. He didn't leave me. Can you come out? I'm sorry about last night. I didn't want to tell you. I've felt that way for a long time now, and I guess I couldn't keep it in any longer. I was going to say more, but he opened the door and glared at me. Did you mean it? Do you actually have feelings for me? He said this with such a cold voice I shivered. Answer me. Yes, I meant it, and I still do, but... Before I could finish, he closed the door and locked himself in the room again. I sighed and left him alone. I didn't know what to do, so I decided to just go back to bed. I woke up around 11:30 that night. Shit, I almost missed the new year. I got up and walked to the living room where I found Matt sitting on the couch in his usual spot, watching the countdown to the new year on the TV. He didn't turn to look at me, even after I uttered a hello. I sat down on the opposite end of the couch and I could see him trying to scoot further away from me. This agitated me more than anything, and I let him know. Damn it, Matt, if me feeling this way makes you hate me so much, then I'll stop. He didn't look at me, but he did respond. You can't just stop liking someone on command. No, but I'll pretend if it means we can still be friends. There was a long pause, and neither of us spoke for a long time. Finally, around 11:55, he spoke again. I'm not mad because you like me. Well, I am, but not for the reason you think. It's because, well, I like you too, Jack. I didn't want to say it for fear you would shout me down and laugh at me. I hope you understand. I was just so in shock that you liked me too that I couldn't tell you that I felt the same last night. I didn't know what to say. I actually didn't say anything because when I was about to, the crowd of people on the TV started counting down. 10, 9, 8. This is it, my dream. Was he going to shout me down if I tried something? 7, 6, 5. I looked at Matt and he was looking right back at me with his heart in his eyes, just as Marcia had looked at Felix when they were here. 4, 3, 2. I couldn't risk losing this love. I could regret it the rest of my life. I put my hands on Matt's neck and pulled him towards me. 1. Happy New Year! Our lips met just as the clock struck midnight. The kiss was felt with so much passion, I almost didn't want to ever pull away. But I finally did after the crowd on the TV started calming down. I looked at Matt and his eyes were huge. Before he could say anything, I kissed him again. When I pulled away, I asked him a question that would eternally change my life. Matt, will you please be my boyfriend and move in with me? I was scared he was going to say no, even though he had already confessed he felt the same and let me kiss him twice. He smiled and nodded his head. I would love to do just that. We kissed one more time and then went to bed. I didn't expect to have the Times Square dream again, but I did. Only this time, when a girl asked if we were a couple, Matt proudly wrapped his arms around my shoulders and said, yes, we are a couple, and I couldn't be happier with anyone else. I woke up crying. Not from the sadness, but from joy. I did the impossible. I got the guy of my dreams, literally. And I don't think I'll ever be able to let him go.